Hello everyone and welcome to Travelling with the Stars, brought to you by EYS Travel Planners. This week's podcast is all about London, Venice and Paris in the winter. Hello Karen.
Hello Ty.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Right, get into it.
Right, so before heading to London we spent a day in Paris and then we decided to take the Eurostar train to London via the English Channel. This took just over 2 hours and was very comfortable. We chose standard premium seating for this trip, which included a light meal and choice of drinks. Gorging Gons joined us, or Gorging Gons or the Bin Chicken, he has two names, joined us in this class of travel. There are 3 classes on the Eurostar: Standard, Standard Premier and Business Premier. For the 2-hour trip, Standard Premier was quite satisfactory for us. We arrived nice and relaxed at St Pancras. No waiting for luggage, no customs or immigration to go through, all very civilised.
Very civilised, it was good, yeah.
Totally different to
Getting off a plane.
Yes, we quite liked it. So that's one clear benefit of train travel in and around Europe. Our accommodation for the next 2 nights was the Ritz Hotel, and Gorging Gons were staying at the Grand Royal Hotel Hyde Park. The Ritz standard of hotels is not our usual choice, but we managed to get an excellent price 2 years ago.
It would be our usual choice if we could afford it.
3 years ago, I think it was. 3 years ago, less than half price. So that was a total bargain and a must do at that price.
If we could afford it, we'd stay there all the time.
Oh, I know, but anyway.
And unfortunately, no one sponsors our hotel accommodation yet. Any hotels out there that would like to sponsor our hotel accommodation, please get in contact with us.
That's right, yes. The Ritz is in Mayfair and a short walk into Oxford Street. Bond Street is also nearby. Buses are also available near the Ritz to take you into Greater London, and we took the number 79 once when it was too cold to walk any further.
So we came out of the Ritz, instead of getting in a limousine, we got in the bus.
Yes, down the road a little bit so no one saw us. Christmas Eve is extremely busy in and around Oxford Street. Not sure if it's last-minute shoppers or the window displays or the beautiful Christmas lights everywhere that gets people out of their homes on this cold nights. But be prepared if you want to experience London at Christmas time. The pubs and restaurants are full of people. And you need to... We were very lucky to get in.
We jagged it each time we did it. So a lot of luck there.
But it does... If you want a Christmas feel, London gives you that Christmas feel. It's just full of Christmas lights and people. And,
I think they do it quite well. We've been to a lot of places around Christmas, and I think the Londarians, as I'd like to call them, Londarians. I like mine better.
Londoners.
I think they do a great job with it.
They do. So Christmas Day is fairly quiet, of course. We had Christmas lunch at the Ritz. A magnificent affair. A one-off, though.
All we did was eat that day because we didn't go down to breakfast till late, and that was long. I don't think we finished breakfast till about 10:30, 11:15. And then we were back again for lunch at 12:15.
Yes. But again, it's a one-off. So if you want to splurge at Christmas to experience the opulence, service and culinary delights of Christmas dinner or tea, try the Ritz. One thing to remember though, Christmas drinks are not included in the price.
No, there was a couple of £100 add-on.
It's an extra add-on. I think we all need to experience these things to enable us to enlighten. Well, I think we do to enable us to enlighten our listeners.
And that's your excuse, and you're sticking to it.
I am. Ty probably wouldn't agree with me, and he could be very scared of what I might book next.
Scared, petrified's more the term.
But
Me and the bank manager are quivering on the floor.
But we're here for a short time, so we need to really enjoy ourselves and check out these places. So if any listeners of our podcast are interested in trying Christmas at the Ritz and would like to know how much they should budget, please contact us and we'll pass on more information. Gorging Gons joined us for the Christmas lunch as well. So
he was smart.
He was very
He
smart.
stayed elsewhere.
Christmas night, we ventured out to view the Christmas lights. One place you must visit is Bond Street on Christmas night. Probably all the Christmas Eve or the nights before, but thankfully we could walk around the streets because the traffic was at a standstill in several streets with people viewing the lights from their cars. Unlike Australia, where I think most people are comatose after Christmas dinners, London, everyone was out and about.
It was surprised how packed it was.
It was very, very busy. The weather was cold, No shops were open, but no one cared. It was all about the twinkling Christmas lights and windows displays.
I think there was a couple of pubs open.
There were some pubs open, but none of the other shops or anything were open. It was Christmas. So for me, that was probably, I suppose, not as good as being in the Arctic Circle at Santa Claus Village, but it was a pretty good Christmas.
Yep.
So, yeah. A black cab tour of the Christmas...
Any time I can spend Christmas with you, my love, is a good one.
Is it, dear?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now you know I'm full of it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
A black cab tour of the Christmas lights is available if you prefer to look at the lights in comfort. If you want to have an explanation for all the lights and you're happy to walk, there is also a walking tour available called Magical Christmas Walking Tour. And also available are private walking tours to the best Christmas sites. I'd probably want to do a group walking tour because I think if you get people that lag behind, you could become very cold and it could go on for a long time.
Yeah, but it was also that busy. I don't know how they'd cope with that.
No, how they keep track of the group.
We know what it's like keeping a small group under control.
Exactly, yes. The usual attractions are also open around that time, not on Christmas Day, of course, but the London Eye, Tower of London, Westminster Abbey, I think they only close for that day. One other very popular thing to do during the Christmas period is to book tickets to see the Nutcracker Ballet at the Coliseum Theatre in London's West End. This theatre is one of the largest and opulent variety theatres in London. It's embellished with lots of statues and artwork, but we did find the seating to be very tight.
That's an understatement.
Yeah,
and we're only of
tight.
average-ish sort of size.
And I'm a little bit shorter than Ty, so my knees were touching the seat in front, so it was very awkward when you couldn't spread out.
I kept getting cramps.
Yeah, so the spacing between the seats didn't allow much room to stretch the legs. Tall people had to sit to side on. This made it a little uncomfortable. I would suggest booking a box or a booth where you have movable chairs. I would have, but we were sort of a little bit late, and I guess they're probably things that go really early. The theatre opened in 1904 and is now owned by the English National Opera. The theatre is in St Martin's Lane. This ballet is booked out every night over the Christmas period. We had tickets for the 29th of December. So if you're going to be in London around Christmas and want to attend the Nutcracker, I would suggest book your flights, then book the Nutcracker
first. Yeah.
Don't worry about your accommodation. Get the Nutcracker in first because it is a Christmas tradition in London. So it was great. It's a very nice ballet.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was quite good.
I mentioned Bond Street before, and this is the street where the designers such as Chanel and Dior have stores, and those stores were decorated beautifully.
Well, I'll try and when I throw up a Facebook on this YouTube, I'll throw up some photos of it.
Okay. So, and if you're interested in the Boxing Day sales, well, so is every other Londoner and tourist.
That was a nightmare.
The place is madness. Very hard to move with the masses, and I have no idea how people find a bargain. It was very difficult to find any specials.
You did that. Clothes.
I did, yes. Yes. Not a whole lot, but we did find some. Museums and tourist attractions, as I said, will be closed Christmas Day, but most will be open again from Boxing Day. The hop-on, hop-off tourist buses were still in operation on Christmas Day, so if you wanted to sit on a bus and have a ride around the city.
As long as you got stuck on one that had heating, not...
Yeah, you don't want
not like we did in New York that time.
No, that had no heating upstairs whatsoever, and we froze to death.
We did. We were like icicle popsicles.
We were. Hyde Park is still a very popular attraction for tourists in winter, not as welcoming as the summertime. Kensington Palace tours were busy the day we walked around Hyde Park, and the Sunken Garden is so beautiful in spring and summer, but it was very stark in winter time. Kensington and Knightsbridge are popular tourist spots, and Harrods, of course. Oh, Harrods was crowded.
Oh, wasn't it? What? And it was a lot more expensive than I remember the time we went a few years ago.
I couldn't see anything anyway.
Yeah.
If you choose to visit London at this time, be prepared for the crowds everywhere, except for Marks and Spencer's cafe on the third floor. When all other eateries are jammed packed, we found it to be a peaceful space. The food on offer was very good too. You had turkey and vegetable soup.
It was yummy. They really did a good job. Yeah. I thought it was restaurant quality food for a cafe price. It was brilliant.
Very good. And the price was really, really reasonable. And as we said, it wasn't jam-packed with people. It was quite...
It was
What's
it was
that?
easy. We got a
Yeah.
table easy, and we sat there. And no one was sort of looking at us as daggers to move and get up and give them
No.
the table. I think we even had a cup of tea and a coffee, and after we finished lunch and
Yeah,
relaxed
it's
a
all
little
very
bit.
relaxed, yes. We also took a day trip to Birmingham on this trip. We visited family and friends.
Now that's one of the coldest things I've ever done in my life.
Yes.
Standing on Birmingham Station at 7 p.m. at night, waiting for the train.
Back
With
to
the
London.
wind blowing through there. Oh, my lordy.
And we had to change at Oxford as well due to rolling strikes that were happening in the UK. And I think they're still happening here and there. So, it's very difficult, especially at that time, Christmas, that Christmas week. It was time for us to move on now to our second destination and the place where we would welcome the new year.
Italiano.
Yes.
Yes.
British Airways was taking us to Venice from Heathrow. It was the easiest mode of transport for this destination. Train travel would have taken almost 2 days, so we decided
2 days we didn't have.
No, because we were on a set timetable for
For all
this
the
trip.
retirees, if you've got the time, take it, do the trains.
Yeah. So we decided to go to the airport earlier than required and checked our luggage in. My thinking was if we could get the luggage checked in early, it had a better chance of arriving with us. Because that can also happen in Europe at the moment,
yeah.
where your luggage doesn't actually turn up with you. The flight time to Venice was around 2 hours. Our accommodation in Venice was at the Ala Hotel Venezia on San Marco. This meant we needed to take a taxi from the airport to Piazza Roma, and then a water taxi to the public wharf, Giglio, a short distance from our hotel. The total cost of the taxi and the water taxi was €120. We could have taken the public water bus, but we'll discuss why we didn't take it and give pricings a little later.
You think it's hard getting your bags in and out of a cab? Try a water taxi or a water bus.
Yeah.
Then you get an understanding why we took the taxi. It's one thing people I don't think budget a lot for when they're travelling, though, is it? The extras,
No.
like the taxis and all that sort of thing, and the transport from hotels to airports and all around that sort of thing. So you've got to make sure you include that in all your budgetary figures.
Yes, and ask your travel agent. Well, they will generally ask you. I ask my people if they need transfers or anything like that we can do in advance, and that way you don't have to worry about it. Also, as many of you would already be aware, there are no cars, buses, bicycles or scooters allowed on the main island that houses most of the Venetian landmarks and tourist attractions.
God for that.
Yes, it's quite a great space to walk around, to know that you don't have to jump out of the way. There may be delivery vans and that, but you don't have to jump out
they're
of
only
the way.
early of a morning, I've found out.
But you don't have to jump around with cars and things like
No,
that.
you got to walk past an older, slower pedestrian, but that's about it.
Yeah, so it's strictly a walking area. So if you come to Venice by train, you'll arrive at St. Lucia station and walk to your accommodation. Or if you have several bags or heavy bags, you're probably best to take the water bus or water taxi to your hotel. As I said, our hotel was in Giglio Square and was very convenient to a restaurant just across the square.
That
So
restaurant was
easy.
sensational too.
It was. Venice was not as busy as we expected, although they were looking to have large numbers to celebrate New Year's Eve in St. Mark's Square. Sensibly, given the chilly weather and the potential crowds in a small area, I opted to book us on a New Year's Eve dinner cruise. We boarded the cruise boat at 8 p.m. Hors d'oeuvres and champagne were served on the top deck for 45 minutes or so before we were ushered downstairs to the dining area. We floated around the Grand Canal and ate outer areas all evening, enjoying a 4-course meal and as much champagne or red and white wine as we liked. Did they also serve beer, or was it just wine? can't remember.
Yeah, no, we did have beers as well.
Okay,
Yeah,
so-
I
and
had,
beer.
I had a
I'm
couple
not
of
a-
beers and then I had some red wine.
I'm not a beer drinker, so I don't notice these things. We met quite a few people on board, and at our table we had a lady named Paddy from Austin, Texas, and her daughters Sydney and Jordan. Plus, people watching was also good.
Oh, wasn't it? What?
I
That
did-
was entertainment all on its own.
It was, and I did wonder if we'd be paired with English-speaking guests, so it was good that we were. Jordan, we learned, is stationed in Venice, and her mother and sister came to spend some time with her. And we had a fun table. We watched the midnight fireworks from the boat, after which we continued sailing around for a little while before commencing to drop guests off at their pickup points. We arrived at our drop-off point at St Mark's around 3 a.m.
We were tired little bunnies, and then we had, about a K&a-half walk back to the hotel?
Yeah, there were still quite a few people milling around as we walked back to our hotel via St Mark's Square. The latest, we've been up on New Year's Eve for quite a few years. But
Although we did come close this year. I think we did a 2 a.m.
Yeah, but it was well worth it, and the cost wasn't too silly either. So in Sydney, on the harbour, you can pay $800-900 and upwards. For us, for this cruise in St Mark's, was around about $400 mark.
That's
so
right.
It was well worth it.
Yep. And the food was good. The boat, even standing up on the top deck, even though it was winter, it wasn't that cold.
No, it wasn't too bad.
They seemed to point the boat into the wind, so we weren't getting blown around. So yeah, it was quite comfortable.
Yeah. So we the next day we spent a day at Burano, which is about an hour on the ferry from San Zachariah Pier A. It's important to know the pier name and the number of the pier. This place is so different to Venice. Venice has so many beautiful ancient buildings and artefacts, but not colourful. Burano is colourful. The houses are vibrant and painted in many different colours. There is lots of space between the main squares, and the area where the canals head out to sea are spectacular in their imagery. There are lots of seafood restaurants, as it's first and foremost a fishing village, and again that's why such colourful buildings. We chose a Trattoria Locanda al Raspo di Uva for lunch.
Can you say that again, please, quickly?
No.
Good.
Their next claim to fame in Burano is the lace making of the local ladies.
Just back on the lunch, we did have the fish, local fish and that sort of thing, and it was crumbed, not fried, I think. From memory, but it was very nice. I remember the food was good. I had a little piggy out, I did.
And the restaurant was really packed, and when you went in you thought it was a small place, but it actually had a big dining area
out the back. Two big dining
and
areas out the back.
That. I know. It was huge. The next claim to fame for Burano is the lace making of the local ladies, all by hand and all beautifully crafted. Too beautiful for me to purchase a top or dress because I would have my jewellery caught in the garment at first wear, so I steer away from
It would
lacy.
end up in shreds on the floor.
So I steer away from lacy garments. The weather started to close in while we were there and became a little drizzly and very chilly. It was time to head back. But the ferry was absolutely crowded, wasn't it?
But one thing I'll give it, us being on the other side of 50, shall we say,
yes.
We were standing there and the ferry took off, and a young couple actually got up and gave us their seats, didn't they?
Yes.
So I was quite surprised. Doesn't happen here much.
No, it doesn't. But they all put their head in their phone. But anyway, we're not that elderly, so I guess sometimes that's why people don't stand up for you. I think you have to be really... But anyway.
We're 60 plus.
Yes, evenings around our hotel area were quiet, and we took the opportunity on some nights just to wander around the other little squares and take a few photos. The evenings were very crisp at this time of year, and the mist rolled in and hung around the street lamps, which made for a very eerie or pretty scene. But it was all in all, it was quite good.
No, it was very good.
So things to do in Venice, all the sightseeing you can. So St Mark's Square, the Basilica, the Bell Tower, the Rialto Bridge, the Doge's Palace, the Bridge of Sighs, all the souvenir shops.
There's thousands of them.
There is. And then you've got all the leather shops as well, selling handbags and all that sort of goodies.
Yep, lots of belts, and I bought a couple of nice leather handmade belts as well.
I think I bought a bag. Take a ferry ride like we did to Burano. It's a very colourful little fishing village, and it's situated in the Venetian lagoon. It's also, as I said, famous for the lacework. It has a bell tower, although the bell tower's on a lean.
That's right, it
very
is
much on a lean.
Huh?
Plus quite a few seafood restaurants. Oh, and souvenir shops.
And more souvenir shops.
And Burano too also sells Murano crystal jewellery as well, if you're interested in that. Lido is another island you can visit by ferry from San Marco. Venice has a film festival on Lido every year in August, September. There are lots of beaches here, and Lido is a barrier island, so it forms part of the coastline of the lagoon on the Adriatic Sea. Cruise ships have been using Lido Inlet to reach Venice at its widest inlet. Interested in glassmaking? Take a trip to Murano and visit famous Murano glass factory. A little tip here though, Keep your hands firmly in your pockets unless you are looking for a very expensive set of glasses, a wine decanter, glass figurines, glass bowls, jewellery, or very large glass fountain for your front yard.
And take out a second mortgage.
And don't ask Thai or gorging gongs to accompany you on your visit, as you will come out worse for wear.
I blame the Prosecco.
Yes.
And it was about 10 o'clock in the morning.
I know. So the hotel that we stayed in, they have a little thing going where they will ship you out to Murano on a water taxi for free and bring you
Beautiful
back.
old wooden water taxi.
Yep,
Absolutely
lovely
sensational.
old water taxi. And then you go inside and they get out the Prosecco while you're looking around, and then another bottle of Prosecco while you're looking around. And that little smile that comes to the lips of those that know that they've got a couple of people that will succumb to their sales pitch. Ty would love to tell you about his small purchase, and given Gons isn't available for comment, we may have to impart that information.
Well, we were looking for a new set of wine glasses.
Were we?
Well, I was.
I wasn't aware that.
I like to keep you in style, my love, in making sure you're drinking your fine wine from a nice glass.
Yes, and then you're too scared to use it.
No, we've used them. Anyway. Oh, there's another drink. You just whacked the microphone.
I did, sorry. Yes.
So I did purchase a 6 wine glasses. It did quite cost a little bit of money.
They did. And Gons, or alias the bin chicken, he got succumbed or sucked into buying a Murano crystal wine decanter and 6 glasses that match the decanter, because you cannot have a wine decanter without the glasses that match. And his little purchase came to well over $3,000. So there you go. I walked away with a glass worth $110.
You couple of those, and you bought a necklace.
I got a necklace.
And then some earrings.
No, not there. I got those in Burano.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Some things not to do in Venice. Do not sit on the ground in St. Mark's Square or on the stairs of the Rialto Bridge. You could be fined. Venice is normally so busy, so because sitting obstructs other tourists and locals from moving around easily. They've now started to fine people. They stopped people sitting on the bridge, the Spanish Steps, and that in Rome as well, when I was there in October. So it was really weird to see the Spanish Steps with nobody on them, but it was the reason was they're not allowed to sit on them anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yes, stops people going up that hill. On our radio show episode about Rome, I talked about the different cuisines in the regions in Italy. Venice is not the place for pizza. Wood-fire pizza ovens were banned in Venice due to the safety concerns, of course, of the old timber buildings and just the ancient buildings, I think, around the area.
Yeah.
And also they wouldn't be able to put a fire out in. They've got the canal, the fire brigade wouldn't be able to get in.
Yeah.
So you can't swim and don't fall in the canals.
Oh, no,
so
yucky
you can't
poo.
swim in them naturally, and I wouldn't put my foot too close and fall in them, or fall out of a boat.
No, yucky poo.
Yeah, not very nice.
No. Remember the old days of the Parramatta River? Pretty similar.
Yeah. So it was time then to move on from Venice to our next destination city. And Ty loves European train travel, so I had booked us on an early train to Paris. It was just over 10 hours with a change of train in Milan, and we had time, so there was no rush. There is a through train from Venezia Mestre a couple of times a day, but we would have arrived in Paris after 11 p.m. So I booked an executive class / business class and for Ty and I, and standard seating for Gorging Gongs.
He didn't want to spend the money.
No, he didn't.
Because he bought his decanter.
That's right, didn't have any money left. The trip was very pretty, not a lot of snow on the ground, but lots on the peaks of the Alps. We arrived in Paris Gare de Lyon early evening. A quick taxi ride to our hotel cost €8. It was good to be back in familiar surroundings. We love Paris and never tire of visiting.
Hang on a second. I think you've skimmed over that train trip.
Oh, okay.
The train carriage we were in had, I think it was 10 seats in it, in the whole carriage.
I think so.
And
a business area.
They were almost like the Jason recliner rockers each. and no one next to you, so you had a lot of room. And remember, we were the only two people in our carriage.
Yes.
And we had our own butler in that carriage who kept coming up and saying, "Can I do something for you? Coffee, biscuits, cake, a meal, anything you like?" We said, "No, we're fine." He wandered off and said, "Fine, nobody loves me anymore," because he had nothing to do.
He had nothing to do, the poor thing. But we're not those type of people that demand attention just because we're sitting in a business class seat or anything.
No, not really. If we're hungry, we'll have something.
Very easy going.
We'd already had breakfast, I think.
We had, which we probably shouldn't have.
Yeah.
So we were on our way to Paris because Ty wanted to celebrate his big birthday in Paris. So for something different, we opted for a dinner cruise on the Seine to view Paris at night from the river.
I wanted to see the creek by night in the boat.
You did.
There's a little bit of an old joke there, because the very first time Karen and I went to Paris together, I kept calling the Seine the creek. And I got into trouble, didn't I?
You did.
Yes. Yes, it was my 60th. I'm getting old.
Yes. So my niece and her husband from the UK joined us for the weekend. And of course
that was one of the associate producers getting attacked by the other associate producer.
Oh dear. So my niece and husband for the UK joined us for the weekend. So there was ourselves, gorging gone / bin chicken, and my niece and her husband had joined us on the cruise. The meal was good, but the cruise seemed to end very quickly.
It did.
It did. It was really a fast cruise.
Yeah, I think it was too quick.
I do too.
You're almost sitting down and all of a sudden your meal appeared in front of you.
Yes, you ate and then you were off. After the cruise, we went back to our local cafe or bar near our hotel for drinks because we had plenty of time left.
We did.
When in Paris, have any of our listeners taken the lift to the very top of Galeries Lafayette? Well, you should. We did this time, and the view from the top is wonderful. Not as spectacular as the view from Sacré-Cœur, but well worth the visit if you're nearby. So put that one on your list of places to visit in Paris. Gorging Gons went back for a second visit to the Louvre because one visit is definitely not enough.
I think I've done 5 now.
You have. You've done a few visits. So one's not enough to take in everything this museum offers, and there's so much else around. So yeah, you need to go back and they also would change some of their exhibits occasionally. We opted to take the hop-on, hop-off bus again and do the circuit. Our time in Paris was spent mostly eating, drinking and discovering our own neighbourhood, the Bastille area.
It was quite different for us because I don't think we'd done Paris before in winter. Normally we do it in summer where we spend time in the park areas and the pop-up bars and late in the afternoon just having a quiet drink and watching the Parisiennes go by.
Yeah, so we did. Yeah, this time, it was a little bit different. We did a few things differently, which is good. From Australia to Europe.
Getting there,
that's right. We flew with Vietnam Airlines, and at the time of booking, they were the best value business class option. I've also flown economy with Vietnam Airlines when I've taken the Travel Club ladies on our Vietnam trip.
You want to explain what the Travel Club is? The Central Coast Women's Travel Club?
The Central Coast Women's Travel Club is a little club for ladies who either their husband doesn't want to travel with them, they don't have a partner, or they don't want to travel solo. And I put together little tours for them, and we toddle off on holidays.
You escort most of these, don't you?
I do escort most of them at the moment, yes.
And our last one, I actually got to go the last one, didn't we?
Where
we took a group of ladies to the US of A.
We did.
We went to New York, Memphis, Nashville, New Orleans and Dallas-Fort Worth over a 3-week peried. We had a lot of fun.
We did, but that's something for another
podcast,
okay then. Possibly.
I'll take that as shut up, Ty.
It's not what I was saying, but we're talking.
No, it was the look, dear. I do know you.
So Vietnam Airlines, they're a good airline. They're comfortable, and the food, even in economy class, was good. The staff are also very welcoming. Business class has flat beds and the 1-to-1 cabin configuration. We opted for the window seats on this trip. I decided, given Heathrow's issues of late, that it would be best to fly into Paris Charles de Gaulle. I'm not a big fan of Charles de Gaulle either, but in this instance, it was very easy and our bags arrived without much wait time.
I've changed my mind on Charles de Gaulle. I never used to like it, but now we know it quite well.
Yeah, we do.
I quite like it.
So we're doing that again this year. So Yeah, so if you're wanting to fly business class, give Vietnam Airlines a chance because they do have quite reasonably priced business class options as well. Getting around London, well, an Oyster card is the best option for the tourist to travel around London. It covers the buses, tube, tram, overground trains and the river bus. So you've got plenty of options on the Oyster card. You just need to start it off when you first get it, and then you can still put money on as you go. So you don't have to put a great wad of money on that you can't get
and
off.
each station had a machine you could put the card in and whack some more pounds on
if
it.
you needed to.
Yeah.
A taxi from King's Cross St Pancras, if you arrive via Eurostar with luggage, is the way to go. It's flag fall and not a set rate, but was around £17 to Mayfair. You can also probably organise transfers to pick you up, but there's not a lot of stopping place around those stations.
I thought it was quite reasonable.
It was fine, yeah. Getting around Paris, well, a tip on taxi services at Charles de Gaulle. Touts will try and convince you not to wait in the taxi line and charge 70 to 80 euros for the trip to your hotel. So walk past the touts and go outside to the taxis, as they have fixed taxi rates at 53 euros to central Paris.
You might look at the line and go, wow, that's long. I think it took us about 10 to 15 minutes to work our way through a very long line, jump into a cab, and we were off only paying 53 euros instead of 80.
Yeah, and it moved, like I said, it moved really quickly. Also, if you book a return taxi trip to the airport and you need more room than a sedan, ask your hotel to book you a station wagon. Sedans and station wagons have a set fee of 58 euros. So that's good value if there's a few of you and all your bags. A maxi van will cost up to 80 euros. We fitted 3 large rolly bags, 3 cabin bags and other bits and pieces in the back of the wagon.
Including Gons.
Yes, and he's not a short person.
Mm-hmm.
If you are happy hauling your luggage or don't have much luggage, a cheaper option is the RER to the main Paris stations, and from there taking the metro or a taxi. However, be aware metro stations rarely have a lift, but do have lots of stairs.
Some of them are horrendous.
That can become
even without a
exercise.
bag, your knees go, I'm not playing anymore.
That's right. On the metro, it's easy to go anywhere on this system. I think there's 249 metro lines.
Yeah,
through Paris.
great to get around.
Yeah.
Even a Dumbo like me can do it.
And try not to go travelling at peak times, though, because it can be really packed and very unpleasant.
True.
And getting to San Marco from Venice Airport, shuttle bus from Piazza Roma, €8 per person. Then the water bus, 15 per person. To San Marco, or taxi and water taxis as we did, 120 euros. And we did them, as Ty said, the 120 euros, there was 3 of us. We had 2 lots of luggage each, and for us it was a much better option than to be on a crowded water taxi. So that was the best thing for us. Your hotel will have directions on how to get there and what is the best mode of transport for you. If you've hired a car, then the best place to park that car for the duration of your stay is Garage San Marco, Piazza Roma, which is the gateway to the island. Other places, Garage Isola Nova near the ferry dock, or Venezia Mestre railway station. You cannot take it into Greater Paris. Or you can go over and stay on Lido, put your car on a car ferry, drop the car off there, and then you have to come backwards and forwards. But yes.
You said Paris. You meant...
Oh, did I say Paris?
Yes, you did.
I'm
You
sorry.
meant Venice.
I meant Venice.
Because I was just about to
Paris
say, when
on
we
my
did it,
mind.
we stayed on Lido, didn't we? And got the
did.
ferry back across. And I just went, huh?
Sorry.
Trying to confuse us all, dear.
Sorry, yes. Hotels were used on this trip. 25 hours Hotel Terminus Gare du Nord, which was good for an overnight.
That was very trendy. It was just overnighter, I think.
Yeah, it was a trendy hotel, but it's right near Gare du
It's
Nord.
right in the middle of everything.
Better than a lot of the others. The Ritz in London.
Oh, that little dump.
And yes.
Lovely
I'd
hotel.
like to hear you say that.
No, it's a lovely hotel. I'm being
I
very
know, it's
facetious.
beautiful. They were very good to us. They gave us lots of
I was
goodies.
surprised how down to earth the people were in there. The staff
workers,
were
yes.
wonderful.
They were.
I'm trying to remember the gent's name that showed us to our room that was actually on the show, and I can't remember it for love or money, but he was so down to earth, explained everything to us, spent some time with us, telling us how it
Was
all
his name
worked.
John?
I can't remember, to be honest, but he was fantastic.
It was very good.
Yep.
The Grand Royal Hyde Park is also okay, and that's where we had to move to after our 2 nights at the Ritz.
It was a bit disappointing after that, but anyway.
And Alla Hotel Venezia in Giglio, Venice, is an adults-only hotel. So you will not find any little kids running around or anything. It's adults only.
And no, what was the restaurant opposite? I'm trying to remember. But anyway, it was a family-owned restaurant and the food was all handmade. Absolutely sensational.
It was very good. And in Paris, we stayed in the Marais Bastille Hotel, which is now one of our favourites because it's very close to everywhere.
We've probably been there at least a half a dozen times there, haven't we?
And
got a
we'll
great
be there
little
again
bar up the road. It
Yes.
was
I
absolutely
think that's
brilliant.
that's the whole thing in Paris. Try and be like the locals, and so we're in this Marais hotel, and we've got what did we have? We had a place across a metro across the road.
We did.
Directly in the park. Saturday, Sundays, and Thursdays was the markets
Correct.
were on in the park. We had bars and restaurants all nearby.
Little
and the
little shops,
Bastille,
little
shops.
supermarch.
Yes, we had the Fran Marche, I think, or
Fran
Franprix,
Marche.
Franprix or something.
Yeah, something like that.
But it was very good.
Well, another podcast done and dusted.
Dusted.
Brought to you by EYS Travel Planners. If you've got any travel requirements, contact EYS. Look us up on Facebook or on the interweb, www.eyestravelplanners.com.au. We're Travelling with the Stars, and you can find us on Facebook under Travelling with the Stars. We hope you enjoyed this podcast, and it's goodbye from me.
And me.
And it's goodbye from us. Bye for now.
Bye for now.